Thank you for coming. And I'm going to turn it over to Catherine to introduce Randa.
Most of you probably already know Randa, but I did not know Randa. I've just heard about Randa. And so we've asked Randa if she will present this PowerPoint for us because she knows it better than I do. And then Linda and I are going to present it, our branches. So let me tell you a little bit about Randa because she's what an interesting lady. So 7 years ago, she came from San Diego to Oregon, and she's still active in 2 branches in California, and has been the newsletter editor for 24 years in one of them, and active at the state level. But in Oregon, she's in the Lake Oswego branch and the Oregon Online branch, and serves in Georgia's Oregon Communication Committee. Is that the name of it, Georgia?
She's on the technology committee.
And now she's volunteering with the Open Up AAUW support team, which is why we want her to give this to you. So she enjoys hosting and attending Zoom meetings. Imagine that. And she enjoys updating websites. This is all very good for me to know, who is a super non-techie. And she likes to use Google Docs and MailChimp and Snagit. She lives in a 3-generation household, son, daughter-in-law, and 13-year-old granddaughter, and 2 dogs. So Randa, have at it. Welcome. We're so glad you're doing this for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Catherine, for that nice introduction. And thanks to both of you for inviting me to share this PowerPoint this afternoon. A member from South Dakota created this PowerPoint for, of course, the purpose of educating us on the forthcoming vote. Several of us decided that it needed a bit of revision, and that's what you're going to see this afternoon. It will be posted on the Open Up AAUW website, which you might want to remember that name, Open Up AAUW website, this weekend, and hopefully will be posted on the national website soon. One of my main concerns the reason I wanted to revise it, is to include the fact that this is a grassroots campaign rather than a national dictating this change. It was recently pointed out to me that hearing this information helped a member to understand the importance of this change, and she encouraged us to let others know. This presentation contains only 11 slides. It tells of some of the major events of the evolution of AAUW and addresses some of the common concerns. So now I will share my screen. Obviously, this is Open Up AAUW. I'm not going to read this all of it to you because you obviously can read it, but I am going to add a few words along the way. Why are we here? As you all know, we're going to be voting in April, and members will vote to eliminate, whether they want to eliminate or not, the AAUW degree requirement for membership. The National Board and the Governance Committee and the Inclusion and Equity Committee support this change. State boards are taking stands in favor of this, and you can view how many states have approved a yes vote on the AAUW website. Currently, there are 9 listed, but I'm pretty sure that the most recent one I've heard is so far 12 states have approved this. Today, we will review AAUW's ongoing history. I'm hoping maybe some of you listened to the website a couple of days ago that National did, because it was quite interesting history about our AAUW events and evolution. What do we stand for? This mission has changed over the years, but this is our mission now. Obviously, again, a member-driven mission. Our vision and our values. The membership requirements have changed. I like the idea of change, but I like to use the word has evolved, because I think that shows more of what really has happened. I'll let you read some of this. Many of our members come from the education field, and they wouldn't have been able to have joined prior to 1963. Some of you might be aware, I didn't know this until fairly recently, that National has never discriminated against color. But many branches did back in the beginning of our time. And in 1949, they prohibited that from happening any longer. Of course, many of you, some of you might remember back to 87, that was before my time, that men were allowed to join. And in 05, we had associates and our equivalent degrees were permitted to join. This is the same information done in a more shorthand way. In 2021, 63% voted yes for the approval, but we needed 66.7%. In Oregon that year, 29% of the branch members voted and 65% approved of dropping that requirement. This is obvious that men outnumbered the women in education in the past. Even if there were fewer women in trades and C-suites and military in the past. Now, women represent more than half of the members of students on campuses in many universities. Women are in leadership positions, yet discrimination against women continues. And that we can think of in terms of the Equal Pay Day that's coming up. Today, we recognize that higher education is definitely a path that many women take. But on-the-job training, technical experience, life experience, all alternate paths to obtaining education skills. This is the most important to me. We all fight all the time for equal rights in reproductive rights, equal pay, maternity leave. All of those apply to women, regardless of the path they chose. This is a restatement of the mission to keep in mind so that we can think if this is something that we want to encourage more people to help us be stronger and truer to our vision of equality for all. This will make us more inclusive. Education will always be upfront for our focus of our mission. What makes AAUW unique? I was discussing this with somebody just last night on how important and unique this organization is because it is so varied. Yes, we work with more women to go to college. We work for the equal rights, all these things, and almost none of the other kind of organizations that we can belong to have so many paths to work this kind of information through. The other thing that I find unique about AAUW is that it is a member-driven organization. Recruiting diverse younger members is utmost important, and belonging to 4 different branches, I hear this in every branch that I belong to. And I think an interesting statement that I heard recently is that many of the younger people are not willing to join because their mothers and their friends are unable to join. And you probably have heard that it is important to National of AAUW, and I understand some branches of AAUW, because organizations that they would ask for donations or money in whatever form it would take, and they won't give this money because we're not an inclusive organization. Our name will not change, just as these other ones listed have not changed. And they haven't changed their acronym or their term just because some of the words no longer fit their mission. How will it work? Well, of course, voting starts on April 3rd and it ends at noon Eastern Time on May 15th. What we need to do, since you're the Board of Oregon, is that we need to be helping our members and our branches know how to ensure that their members' emails are correct in national, because it will be the national that will be sending out the ballot. And then for the people who don't have an email, they will get a paper ballot. I'm sure people will ask, is there a possibility to get a paper ballot for the people who have an email? And that's not possible. We need to help the people be able to cast their ballot. Please vote. If you need more information, one source to go to is going to the website or to send a question to info, open up AAUW. Help us break through the barriers of our own organization. Your vote, everybody's vote, is very important.
Thank you. Thank you, Randa.